Hey, what's going on, kids? It is Monday morning, and we've got a freaking crazy ass crew for you. Stevie's off playing business owner, Keith's off playing storm chaser, Peyton's off playing Ren Fair. So you're stuck with me, Bernie, and we invited Jess to come hang out with us. Rebecca's going to be our guest today, so gonna be an interesting show to say the least. So. Anything amazing, awesome happened this weekend? I know Elizabeth and I snuck off to Canton First Monday, which is like one of the largest swap meets in Texas. It's like 100 acres of junk and antiques and new stuff and vendors, and uh, we bought a bunch of silly, crazy shit.
Nice.
But you guys, anything fun, and exciting this weekend?
I watched my Lions beat up on the Packers. That was exciting.
Was it your game the guy got ejected out for the hit?
I must have missed that. If it
Dude,
was my
I
game,
don't know if it was
I
the
don't
Lions,
think
but
it
there
was.
was a guy that got freaking. He hit the either quarterback or receiver so damn hard that they ejected him from the game from it
Hmm.
because it was so late after the play was over, and he just smashed the guy. It was, and the guy was, I mean, seriously hurt,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
laying on the ground for quite a while. So, but Lions won, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Beat them by 10, 24-14, 7-1 now.
Who were
Lions
they
going all the
playing?
way. Green Bay Packers.
Oh, that's a good win then.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yep.
win.
Division rivalry.
So
I'll
seven
take
and
it.
one.
Yep.
Wow. Who taught the Lions how to play ball?
Apparently, this new coach, Dan Campbell, he actually knows what the hell he's doing.
That's a
It's
really
amazing.
big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big dude, man.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, he
Oh.
played for the Lions during their winless season, so he knows what it truly means to suck.
That's awesome. Yeah, only reason I know him is I watched that show, Receiver.
Yeah, I'm on St. Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that guy.
So,
What a cool background that guy has with his mom being German and all the other stuff and the shit that they made them do as kids growing up. His brother's in the NFL too.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so Rebecca, what about you? Anything fun and crazy this over the weekend?
I carved an emu egg. Does that count as
What?
fun?
I can expect a lot
Gonna need more.
of words to come out of your mouth, but those were not the words I was expecting to come out of your mouth.
So, like in my spare time, I carve ostrich and emu eggs or whatnot, and I carved one this weekend.
So,
What do they look like?
Like a jack-o'-lantern?
Emu
Like
eggs are actually some of the coolest things. They look like dragon eggs.
Yeah, and they actually look really cool because they're green, and then they have the underlay and stuff, and they really actually dye very well. But no, think kind of like a jack-o'-lantern, but not because I'm not using a knife. Like a Dremel tool.
Dremel, so you have to. But so an emu egg is about this damn big. They're freaking huge.
Yeah, it's pretty big. But you can order them anywhere. Like you can order them off of Amazon. You can order an ostrich egg.
The shell, or are you getting the actual emu eggs? Because the emu
no,
eggs
I'm getting the shell.
Okay, yeah.
I get
emu
the
eggs
shell.
are not cheap. I mean, you're talking a couple $100 in some cases.
I'm like, I get the shell. It's already drained out. They've taken the egg. I don't want the other stuff. I don't want to have to be responsible for all of that.
How'd you find that? How'd you get into it?
I wood carve, and I already was wood carving, and I'm like, this is boring. So now I want to go do emu.
Okay, let's go to emu egg.
Wood carving or whittling? Because there's a major
difference. No, wood carving. I don't
so
whittle.
You're still dremeling on wood. What are you carving?
I usually do animals, and I do like landscape stuff. So
how hard would it be for you to go show us one of your eggs?
It's going to be hard today because I'm not in my house.
All right. I want to post inside of your social media or in circles something of one of these damn.
I want to see this. Absolutely.
I'm going to sit here and make a special project for my weekend. I'm carving an egg. Like, I don't show people often because it's, just a weird thing. And I think people think I'm strange. Like, who goes on Amazon?
All right, hold on. I dress up in medieval clothes and go to fucking Ren fairs.
That's not weird.
How the fuck is that not weird?
That's not weird. That's normal.
I love
Rebecca runs in some different circles, apparently, Dottie.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, people buy you. I mean, so we'll talk about that on the show. So as we dive into it, but we're gonna jump into watch how much I screw up all this stuff. All right, so we're gonna try and do this. So
And tell me there was a game show.
oh yeah, every episode.
There's always a game show.
There's always a game show. So Peyton built this. I have no idea what we're doing, but we're playing this or that. So basically, choose which one you would rather do. The first one, reading books or watching TV. What would you rather do?
What's on TV?
Yeah.
That's-
Question.
So for me, it depends on the activity. Like if I'm working on something, then give me my audiobooks or give me, the likes. I won't read a book anymore. I just can't focus long enough to read. I can listen to a book. But Elizabeth and I watch a lot of TV. But
yeah, reading.
dogs or cats?
Oh, dogs. Dogs.
1 billion%.
Yeah, dogs.
And if people said cats, they're voted off the island. Early bird or night owl? Oh, I'm an early bird. I can tell you that right now. I turn into a
I
pumpkin.
want to be an early bird, but I tend to be a night owl.
I'm a night owl.
I don't really want to do either, to be honest with you. Don't want to get up early. I don't really want to stay up late anymore.
Bernie wants to lunch. That's all
Yes.
Bernie wants to do. Bernie wants to lunch. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Summer.
Fall? Can we get an answer for fall?
Yes, I would for fall.
So, God, it depends on where the winter is. If it's up by Bernie, I'm out.
Right.
I was just in Pennsylvania, and it already started sleeting while we were
Yeah,
there.
no.
No.
I saw people up in Colorado already getting snow and shit. I'm out. I'll suffer the summer. Podcast or music?
Music.
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 God, it depends. I'm gonna go with music as well. I actually haven't listened to as many podcasts I used to. Music. Introvert or extrovert? I'm fucking surrounded by them.
Introvert.
Extrovert, because you introverts are weird people, just quiet weird people. That's all there is to it. So
Yeah.
Creepy, don't know how to carry on conversations. Planning everything or spontaneous? Y'all get to guess for me.
But you are spontaneous.
Oh, fuck yes.
You are spontaneous about everything.
So I like to plan everything, but when I go on vacation, I don't want to plan. I just want to go.
Huh.
So
Yeah,
I'm spontaneous on fucking everything. We already did that one. Cooking in or dining out? Ooh.
Cooking in. I cook every day.
So do I. If I'm not on vacation, probably eating in or cooking in. On vacation, yeah, I'm out. I want to eat all
So
the
I
time.
like trying new stuff. And so does Alice, my daughter. We like to go to restaurants and try new stuff, but like on a regular basis, hands down, cooking in.
Yeah, see, I get dinner made for me every single day, so it really doesn't matter either way.
Oh,
So how much do you pay your wife?
A lot.
Because she's got to be blind with your ass. And now she cook dinner for you too? Jesus. Morning workout or evening? Morning. Actually, I mean, Elizabeth and I have been doing some evening workouts or afternoon workouts. Those have been fun though too.
Yeah, if I was going to, it'd be an afternoon or evening. Definitely not a morning. Definitely not.
Well, I'm morning until I don't get to it, and then I become evening.
if I exercise, it's midday because that's the only time I have available.
Nice. City life or country life? No choice. That's just not even a question.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't be big city, but I couldn't do straight country life either.
Country. But we're close enough to the city that it's...
Yeah. So we're still 35, 40 minutes sometimes, into the city. So it's not bad.
I need a middle one there for the burbs.
No, No, fuck.
No,
Dude,
no.
you get out to the country life, and the burbs will make you claustrophobic.
Hmm.
People are just too damn close together. I don't want to see my fucking neighbors.
They
Right?
drive me crazy
Yeah.
when I
Couldn't
live
do it.
in the burbs.
Couldn't do it. Road trip or air travel?
Road trip.
Oh, fuck off. Air travel. I am not
Okay.
getting in a car and going anywhere. I want to hit every Ren fair in the U.S. I want to fly there and have my clothes show up and meet me there. Like, I have no desire whatsoever to. Oh, that's a good question. Sal asked like a Ukrainian Easter egg, intricate pattern type stuff. That's for you, Rebecca.
I do that on occasion, but I'm very much I'll do like animals. So I like lions, I like tigers, I like big cats,
All right.
stuff like that.
All right. Action movie or comedy?
Ooh.
Again, what's the movie and who's in it?
For me, it depends on the mood I'm in.
Generally, I prefer a comedy, but love good action movie.
It's so hard to get a good comedy, though.
Mhm.
Because people's taste in comedy is just odd sometimes. Public speaking or one-on-one?
I think you can answer this for us, Donnie.
3 of the people on screen are going to be one-on-one. One of us on the screen is going to be public speaking. And obviously, I'm the one that wants to do one-on-one. The rest of them all want to do public speaking. Like an introvert. TV show binge or movie binge?
Movie binge.
TV show.
Yeah. My wife would be TV show, man. She can sit down and watch a series to death, like back to back, nonstop. I can't do it. Stadium concert or small venue?
Small venue.
Small venue.
I think it depends on the artist.
Nope. I'm small venue no matter what. I hate crowds, hate people.
I'm generally not going to be in the stadium, but there are some concerts that just deserve the big stage.
Like we went to a Costco on a Sunday. That was stupid. I just hate being around that many freaking people.
Well, now it's the HEBs.
See, I don't go to HEB, so it's too far of a drive to get there. So, emails or direct messages, like a text message. Give me the DMs.
I'll take an email.
Yeah, that's tough. I would say email probably.
I should put a message on my email. Like if you call me and goes voicemail, it literally says I don't listen to voicemail. Text me. Like I'm not going through the process of listening to a stupid voice message, right? Like I'm obviously have my phone in my hand. You obviously have my number. Fucking text me. I don't want to talk on the damn phone. What's up, Ian?
What's up, Ian?
Luxury hotel or cozy Airbnb?
Hotel.
Why do you like Airbnbs?
Hotels. I don't like the Airbnb. It's something about, that's going to sound weird, but it's something about like everybody having used like the sheets and the bedding, and I don't know if they've washed it. I'm weird. I'm sorry. I'll take the hotel.
So I have one caveat to my answer. I want a bed and breakfast. I want that across the countryside. But if I can go to hotel poop, I'm in. I want the luxury hotel. If you don't know where hotel poop is, it's The Last Holiday, Queen Latifah Christmas movie. It's one of the greatest Christmas movies of all fucking time. I fucking love that movie. Seriously, if you have not seen The Last Holiday with Queen Latifah, you are missing the fuck out. Great movie. Learning by doing, learning by reading.
Doing all day.
Doing.
Yeah, like my wife has to look at the instructions. Like we put together a 3-day freaking greenhouse, and the instructions just made me go cross-eyed. So, yeah.
Okay, but we were building a pergola once. For like 2 hours, we were trying to figure out how to square it, and finally I got the instructions out and we figured it out.
No. Can't do it. Last one, it looks like. Oh, no, that was the last one. Oh, all right. Well, let's see if I can screw this up.
This is Rebecca Prejean, CEO of EB Graphics and Consulting. Creating dynamic and innovative learning experiences tailored to all individuals, regardless of learning style or experience level. Their aim is to empower everyone to achieve their highest potential, embracing the beauty of neurodiversity. And today, she gets the hot seat with the Success Champions team.
Whoop, oh, I gotta stop presenting. Stop sharing. There we are. All right. Well, Ms. Rebecca, welcome to the show, my dear. Get 2 seconds. Tell us who the hell you are, and then tell us how we can help.
Yeah. So CEO of EB Graphics and Consulting, and I create training, graphics, videos, animation for people with disabilities that are working in corporate. So a company will come to me, ask to create something, and it can be, like I said, a range of things. But regardless of what I make, it's designed for people with autism, ADHD, dyslexia, everything on the spectrum. And the main thing that I'm experiencing right now is it's clear I need to scale because I don't have time to do all the things that are coming to me. Like I just don't at this point because I do everything and it's custom. But I also don't know how to find people who can really help me and be the support, because it's such a specialized thing and everything is so customized and personalized to the client. So the question I have today is, how can I scale while keeping quality the way that it is? Like my clients tell me all the time, and this is something else I have to address, that I should charge more because they would pay double for the quality of work that I give and what I do. So I don't want my quality to go down. I don't want any of that to be affected, but I definitely need support. It's become slightly unmanageable lately.
Well, that's a good problem to have.
Oh,
It sure
yeah.
beats the alternative of not having all the work, right?
Right.
Good problem to have, yes.
And 9 times out of 10, if we are overwhelmed with the volume of work, we are way undercharging for our prices. Because if people aren't pushing back at some point on what you're throwing out there, then you're priced way too low to be handling that volume of work. So it's a huge indicator. So every creative in the world, I don't give a fuck who they are, runs into this conundrum. Nobody can do it like I can do it. Nobody can do it to the level that I can do it. So creativity, any creative work is a bitch to try and find somebody that can match your standards, right? So what have you tried in the past so far to try and figure this out?
I have tried, in some ways, I've tried to kind of narrow the things that I offer. So I've tried to have different package types that only include certain things, so there's less customization having to go on. I have tried a few subcontractors. Disastrous. I ended up just doing the things myself, so it was kind of counterproductive. I've tried to plan better. I've tried to target my clients a bit more, so maybe I'm getting a little less work. At some point, I did increase prices, but obviously I still need to do that. So I've tried a few different things.
So what's the number one thing that's kicking your ass? Is it creative? Is it what?
Time. In terms of kicking my behind, it's time. And Bernie can
so
probably
cute.
admit this.
So cute. So, in what regard? How's your time getting destroyed?
So it takes, if somebody wants a course and it's about a 30-minute to an hour course, that can take hours to build. That can take, depending on the complexity of it, it can take almost 2 weeks to build, like almost a full 80 hours. And that's that one project. But I'll have other people, in terms of needing things, that need like a workshop done. But I have to create the things for the workshop. I have to create.
Okay, so let's start with the course. What's the process for building a course?
Process for building a course depends on the client, but you meet the client, you talk about what they want, you talk about their learning objectives, and you take what they have most of the time, which is almost nothing, and then you have to build it. So that can usually mean sometimes storyboarding it out if they're a little bit more particular. So I have to actually show a stream of thought or an outline as to this is what we'll explore first. This is maybe an activity that we have. This is a quiz question that we have. Then we go to the next section. So throwing all of that out, getting their approval. This is all before even being built.
Okay. Once you have it storyboarded, then what?
Then we get to the fun part of designing it in an actual authoring tool. And depending on what they want, for me, that's going to include a lot of custom graphics because, again, everything's accessible, right? Yep. So that's going to include me changing color schemes. It's going to include me creating different layers and different triggers for people to actually click on and press so that they can get the desired result.
So it sounds like you have some sort of standards that each course would have to hit, right?
Most of them, yes, in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. So why can't you do all the storyboarding up front, which is the real hard part of the creative thinking and everything else, and then pass the course off to a design team?
Because I don't trust design people. I'd almost prefer to do the first part. So or let the other people do the first part where they storyboard it out and then me create. Because the tools themselves, the way that things come out, like final product wise, depends on the expertise of the tool. And it depends on visual design skills a lot too.
So something we get trapped into as creatives is that no one can do it better than us, as Donnie was saying. But the thing we need to think about is we're not looking for someone to do it at our standard. We're looking for someone to do it above our standard. So we're looking for that person that can do it better than us so that we can pull out and be that CEO to be able to scale in the business. The other thing is, as we are entrepreneurs, and I went through this with my web design agency, is we think that since we can do it all, everyone can do it all. And so we bring people in and then we're like, you do it all. And our expectations are that they can do it all, where they're usually specialized. So if there's a way you can break that process down into steps and bring people that specialize in that one small portion and push that off, get them systemized, get them in place, and then bring the next person in. Do it in baby steps. Don't do it all in one big, hey, here's the project, go do it.
Rebecca, are you the best graphic designer in the world?
Oh, to me, yes, but I know that's not true.
I love that cockiness. I fucking love that cockiness.
I'm like, to me, yes, but that's part of the problem now. Is because I'm like you and Jessica said, I'm like, nobody can do it as good as I can, and that's a bad thought process.
Okay,
yes.
So then you have to get everything off of your plate except for the creative.
Yep.
So like Mike's asking, what's all the back of the house stuff that's operations and not client facing that you can offload?
Yeah.
I mean, technically with everything else I do, there's probably a lot because I mean, there's marketing, there's website things that I would love to do and I just don't have the time to do. So there's other things that could probably free me up that I could get rid of, quite frankly.
What's the one thing that you are doing right now that you hate doing and you could wish you could pass it off?
Oh my gosh, posting on LinkedIn. Like, creating LinkedIn posts and social media, it's just not, I don't like it. And it takes way too much time for me to think about things and
okay. What's preventing you from outsourcing LinkedIn, posting on LinkedIn?
Just being stubborn and weird. I'm not gonna lie. Like I have a whole group of people I could probably find in SEN to get help with that. So yeah, just being stubborn.
So there's number one. So outside of LinkedIn, what else do you hate doing?
Any kind of marketing things. I hate that. And I hate planning in general. And when I say planning, I mean planning my calendar. Like my calendar is already a little weird, because of I my son and all those kinds of things. So it's like if I could have somebody who could tell me where to be and when I have just open time, that would also be helpful, because sometimes I'm doing projects in between just random stuff. Like I've worked in my son's school parking lot before.
All right. So I'm trying to get all the comments up there. So the trick is we have two choices when we're building a company. We can actually build a company, or we can create a shitty job for ourselves. Right now, you've created a very shitty job for yourself, right? Because as an employee, we get a task, we do the task. If we don't do the task, we get fired, right? As a business owner, if we're the only one that can do the task, we've just created a shitty job, right? So there's a way to combine it all. I would first start with the operational side of things. Let's get all the shit you hate doing off your plate. You need an executive assistant that can master your schedule, your email, all that kind of stuff, and get that coordinated. Sharon Fung might be somebody to talk to about that. And then from there, you need to be able to bring people into your creative world. And what I mean by that is there's going to be people that specialize in certain particular things. Maybe it's creating charts. Maybe it's, finalizing presentation. Maybe it's something, but things that you can pawn off on micro. So you on a macro level can freaking take care of the final sign off of everything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, right off the bat, you need to get an executive assistant, a VA, to manage those administrative tasks, the stuff that you don't want to do, don't have the time to do, and probably don't do as effectively as someone who would just focus on those things. But, I understand your world probably a little bit better than most, being that I'm in learning and development as well. But, we're talking about ADA, and we're talking about folks on the spectrum, and just the different styles of learning that your trainings address. It does require certain subject matter expertise to be able to do it and do it really well. So you're kind of looking for a needle in the haystack when you're trying to find that person who can do the things that you do. I'm glad we're talking later, Rebecca.
Yes.
So think about it. There's VAs out there that have ADHD children and the like. So they have autistic kids. They've grown up in that world and understand the patients and the things that need to happen. Not at your level, right? Because you've spent I don't know how many years doing this. But there are people that this is their mission as well. They just have other talents that want to come along for the ride. And if you can bring them as part of your team, I'd rather have somebody mission focused than talent focused, because talent sometimes can be taught, right? But if they vibe in the overall mission of what we're trying to accomplish, I'll take that and train them up and go from there. So what scares you most about actually building a company?
Losing focus on what I'm trying to do, like the mission. Building a company is great. I've enjoyed it. I enjoy it, even though it drives me mad sometimes. But I get scared about scaling and just letting anybody in, because it is like a personal mission to me, right? It's not just something that I'm cool with or that I think is great. It's something that I'm really passionate about. And so when you start to build and you start to scale, you want to make sure that you're bringing in people, like you said, that believe in that same mission and don't just look at it as a job, because that to me becomes a problem.
Do you actually want to build a company with employees and managers and the headaches that come with that?
I actually really do. Because I think once I'm able to build a company and scale it, I'll actually be able to spread the message wider, because I'll have people who can do more of the, lower level things that I'm currently spending my time doing, and going to, do more public speaking and kind of bringing some more awareness and bringing people in. So I do want to. It's just.
Have you ever sat down and wrote all your stages, all the different little things that you do? Okay. So if you write down all those little different things that you do, then you'll be able to break that out in stages, and you'll be able to see where you can bring people into your process that allows you to free up that time to go do those things, to get your mission out front and be forward facing within your business.
Yeah, it's a big mental shift to go from employee, solopreneur, business owner, CEO. Right. And each one of them takes a kind of an evolutionary leap, if you will. Like I'm still learning to be a damn CEO, and it's not easy. Right. So as you look at this thing, what changes is you change the way you look at the company. So right now you've been looking at it, okay, this is the job I've got to get done. You haven't stepped back to say, okay, this is a company I have to build. If you say this is a company I have to build, what changes in your perspective of the things you got to do moving forward?
The different type of people I need to hire.
Okay, walk us through it.
Automatically, I start thinking about like an organizational structure when you say that.
Yep.
So it's like if I'm building a company and I'm going to be a CEO, then I need a manager, or I need an assistant, or I need like somebody to do marketing for me. Like the thought process changes because the role changes.
100%. Right, and it should. We should be able to step back and go, okay, this is a company. This is not me, right? These are the things I need to put in place with it, right? So in doing that, okay, now we need the assistant of some sort, okay? So we know that's number one. Usually, in most cases, that's the first person you need to hire, anyways. Okay, what do you need to hire next?
Have an assistant. I would almost want to say that I want to hire, I would call them a designer, but it's more of somebody to come with me and do some of the client facing things. So instead of me just meeting clients by myself, it's me meeting clients with somebody who can take notes, take that information and storyboard, essentially, and kind of keep track of the plan. So almost like a project manager, but not kind of like a hybrid project manager, if that makes sense.
I like it. So
Would be the next slide.
That perfect. I love that. So what do you need in an executive assistant? What do they need to be able to do for you?
Oh God, all the things. Like I'm really not naturally a planner. I can't keep a planner to save my life. So I actually need somebody who can truly keep track of all of my meetings, like give me notifications to tell me when my meetings are, remind me of meetings, remind me of school things, somebody who can tell me project deadlines, and kind of remind me ahead of time when they're due, because sometimes I just get lost in the sauce.
Cool.
And
Ruth said this, and she's right. I want you to sit down, take a moment, write out all the things that an assistant would need to be able to do for you. That becomes your job description as part of your first conversation. Okay. So, friggin' creative is right. So that way, when you sit across from a Sharon, a Allison, anybody that can do this kind of fractional executive work, you have a sheet that you can bounce off of, that these are the things I need done, right? And then where was Lauren's comment? It's important to realize that we will make mistakes in business. Sometimes we will bring in the wrong folks, but this is all part of the learning process. It sucks, but she's so right. Right?
I know she's right. For me, though, it's like I hear that and I get that. But I'm like, with this kind of stuff, you can't make those kinds of mistakes.
Oh, but here's
give them a smaller project.
Yeah.
Just test them out on. That's what I would do. There's so many people that, and I think we've all done it, where we've brought the wrong people into the company just because we needed that Band-Aid at that moment. Test them out on a smaller project. Say, hey, can you do this? See how they perform, see how they communicate with you. So that way, when you do need a moment to scale them up and put them on a large project, you guys already know how you interact and what the expectations are.
Yeah, that's why I love this world of virtual assistants and whatnot, because hire for a task, not a complete project,
Mhm.
right? Because now we can figure out, is this person really mission driven? Do they really want to be a part of this? Do I like working with them? Are they the kind of people I want to be around? And you're not stuck with, hey, you're going to take on this client. This is now your client. You're going to say, I need you to, storyboard this conversation, like put something to it and let me know, here's my parameters, this is what I need to accomplish. Come back to me with it and see what they can do. But if you say take it from storyboard to course creation, it's going to fail every fucking time.
Yeah. And realize it, like if you say, hey, go do a storyboard, and this is their first job, you need to build in that time that possibly you may have to be redoing this because you don't know their performance. You should be able to look at their portfolio and see their quality of work and know that they're capable of doing it. But at the same time, at the end of the day, the internet is the internet. You can be whoever you want to be. And so sometimes we do make those mistakes.
So, like going for the storyboard to course creation, right? You already said potentially you'd want to hand off like the interview portion of that. What would be the parameters for a good interview? How do they capture all the information you need for you to be able to put something together?
They need to collect not only kind of the client mission, but their objectives, who they're actually training, who is going to be in this workshop, whatever the case may be. And also kind of what tools do they have available? Like, do they have a learning management system? Is this just going to be stored on some random thing somewhere? All of those kinds of things. And then like branding, especially. Like, do they have existing branding? Do they have branding choices? Do they, do you have pretty much their brand outlined? Are there any kind of weird copywriting things that they don't want? Is there specific imagery that they do want? Are there videos that they want? If they do want videos, do they want regular videos or do they want animated videos? So essentially it becomes like a checklist.
So what's really fascinating about that is before the Badass Business Summit, Jessica interviewed the shit out of me about Babs and what it was his mission, what it was about, and all the things. And she grilled me for like 30, 45 minutes. The output that we got from that was really freaking cool. And it was how we were able to write all the copy and everything, because I had it all up here. I just didn't know how to articulate it out here. One of the things I want you to do is kind of what's happening now is I want you to find somebody like Jessica, Laura, and maybe Allison, maybe Sharon, to grill you about your client projects and what you're doing, but record it so it can be captured and then translated out in ChatGPT or one of the stupid bots that's on a Zoom. So because we can ask you the questions and you know the steps, you've just never documented any of this. So it's very hard to give it to somebody else when it's all trapped up here in our heads. But if somebody else is asking you the questions, right, they can pull more information out of you because there's nothing in it for them. Like, they're just trying to help you with the process. So find like a Bernie or a podcast or somebody that can grill the shit out of you for each step of this process and watch how much information comes out. You've got it all up there.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it honestly is, you're in the system. So sometimes you can't see it. So as you were talking, I already said, okay, you have your housekeeping stuff that you need to get done. That's just a general task list that can be sent as an email to the client. But then you have that whole discovery session on the missions and the values, and that needs to be captured in voice. And that needs to be the interview. The housekeeping, that's just little piddly stuff that needs to get done. The discovery session is the meat. Really.
Right. So what's running through your head, Rebecca?
So much. The only other thing that I think I've struggled with when trying to scale is something you always say, like they buy you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, I don't feel like I can ever just completely offload the interviewing process, because I've literally had people ask me, without knowing, that I don't have like a army of people behind me. Are you the one that's going to be teaching the workshop? Because we want you.
So, question for you. People come into Success Champion Networking. Do they expect that I'm going to be at every meeting?
I hope not.
Did that answer your own question?
Kind of.
Right. The people are going to buy you, right? Because of your brand, your mission, and your heart and the things you're doing. They're going to buy you first, right? But at the end of the day, especially as you get bigger. So, a great example, Tony Robbins. You know who he is?
Yes.
If people go to TonyRobbins.com and say, I want to hire a coach, are they going to get Tony?
Not unless they pay a ton of money.
Yeah. They better be ponying up probably a couple mil, would be my guess, right? So we have to always be cognizant of, as we're building, yes, they're going to buy you, your voice, your brand, your mission. But at the end of the day, they're buying what you stand for.
Yeah.
Right? Go ahead, Jess.
I was just going to say, and just bringing it full circle, eventually you'll be at this point where you're the CEO and you immediately pass it off to your team. And then your team becomes your mission and value. And going back to what Donnie was saying earlier, that's why it's important to bring those people in that are aligned with your mission, your values, and your vision, because they're an extension of you.
Yeah. I continue and will probably always be a mission-focused company, meaning that if you don't understand the mission we're trying to accomplish, you won't work for the company. Because you've got to buy into what we're trying to accomplish. In my head, we're literally changing how the world networks. And if you can't embrace that, understand that, then there's no point of being a part of the team. So for you, you're going to find people along the way that this, doing the neurodiversity training, fixing a lot of things that, dude, I got ADHD. There ain't no corporation I ever worked for that did a damn thing to make my life easier. Matter of fact, I think they made it harder because I was a sales guy. And so all they say is, here's a desk and a phone, go fucking sell something, right? I never got trained or taught on sales or anything, up through my journey. But I also never asked for sales training, right? So it's a double-edged sword on my part. But you've got a really cool mission. I think, truthfully, your biggest problem is not enough people know you and what you're trying to accomplish. Your headaches are just starting, but they're not even big headaches yet because they're just self-inflicted wounds. Right? And now you're to the point of, okay, let's really break some shit. And the only way you're going to break through and build a company is you're going to have to do the scary shit that you don't want to do, which is document, get organized yourself. And that's going to require a team. It's going to require you to bring the right people together. And then you're going to have to do some bad hires. Unfortunately, it's part of the fucking process. Hell, I had a hire cost me $100,000, right? Things are going to happen. But if we all sit back and keep inflicting these small wounds on ourselves, right, then we can't grow because we're just learning the ability to endure the small scrapes and bruises and scratches versus trying to fix the damn problem. So, what's freaking you out the most right now based off of everything you thought of?
I don't feel completely freaked out.
Okay,
for the most part. It all makes sense or whatnot. I feel like my immediate thought process is I need to find an assistant.
Agreed.
How fast can I do that? And where do I look? Like that's the thing that's in the back of my head right now.
So what I would tell you is always leverage SEN. Mm-hmm. So go to your meeting, go to any chapter you visit and say, I'm looking for an executive assistant. Don't say VA because that's going to lead all kinds of things out of the woodworks. Right. I look at it the difference being an executive assistant helps you run the company. A VA helps you do a task. Right. If you keep that in mind, it'll help. Doesn't mean all executive assistants are not VAs, because some of them are just calling themselves that, but are actually just a VA. So, but you need to decide what kind of assistant you want. So for me, an assistant has to hold me accountable. They also have to be able to be thinking forward on the company. So what things can they get off my plate, but also how can they help move the company forward? So when I think of somebody like Sharon, sorry, just come right to you. When I think of somebody like Sharon, we sit down each week and we're brainstorming the marketing. How do we get myself out there? How do we get the workshops out there? What do we do? What are the tasks and things we can put forward in the company? So it's not me just trying to think through, why Jessica focuses on a lot of the operational side of things in that side. Go ahead, Jess.
So I was just going to say, in contrast to Donnie, my assistant is there to help me manage my team and manage pushing the projects through, and also managing the clients as they send in requests, so I don't lose any of those tasks. So it really is specific. What do you need in your business? What can you push off your plate? I think my first hire was a bookkeeper. I hate doing books. That was my first thing I pushed off ever. And it was amazing. So figure out what you need to push off and get it out, and just stumble forward. I do love what Donnie said about use your network to find your assistant. You will find the best people that align with your values and mission within your network.
Yeah, the thing I'd add in there: do not hire the first assistant you talk to. Go talk to several. And probably one of the coolest interviews I ever did was my last career going to work for a sales training company. It was a small company. There was two people at the company before I joined it. There was several more by the time I left. But as part of the interview process, I had to go interview the owner's CPA and freaking a buddy of his who ran a therapy company. So I had to go do additional interviews outside of him because we're emotional creatures, right? So we tend to hire people that we end up liking with, and sometimes that, ooh, I like them, will trump our ability to make a really smart decision because we're not asking all the questions. So figure out who else could you bring into the process that could interview them as well, just to give you a different perspective. But interview 3, 5 different people and narrow it down to the person that you want to give it a go. Does not mean it's going to be the right hire, but it's better to have a process going into it. Um, everybody you hire, set a timeline of what your expectations are, how quickly they have to be ramped up. They need to know what success looks like. They also need to understand what firing looks like. So, what would make you successful in the company? What would cause you to get fired in the company? And if you set those standards up front, right, you automatically create a higher caliber performance than what you can do moving forward.
And jumping back, another good place to look is associations, and specifically, and this goes into more when you're graphic designing. Go look at competitions, graphic designers that have won competitions. Go look at student competitions. Those people are coming out of school hungry to work. I was hired off of a competition. Someone found my work in a design competition. They reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, come work for our agency."
That's pretty smart. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
I like that. And I like getting the young kids come and helping them, grow. So, like Melissa Franklin's daughter, Alyssa, that girl's a beast. And now she's got herself, I understand, overworked at the moment. But find those young ones that are hungry and trying to figure things out. Man, you can create a monster with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, just hopefully they're not like me and eventually think, oh, I can just do it better on my own and then go off and run on my own. But so I think you're in one of the coolest positions out of a lot of people we talk to, because most people we sit across from, their problem is getting clients. Your problem is not getting clients per se, it's building a company. And that's a great point too, Ruth. What about looking at hiring the audience you serve? Out of all your clients that you've worked with, is there been anybody that you've worked with you thought that'd be a good pickup? Or is there anybody in the neurodivergent world that, like, there's this guy on TikTok that I watch. It's called Drawings by Trent. Autistic guy. And have you seen him?
Yep.
Yeah,
I know.
guys, it's fucking amazing. People send in these messages from all over the world, and they say, "Draw this," and the guy sits down and he like draw Mickey Mouse sword fighting Bugs Bunny, and just nails it. Like draw an elephant wearing and combined with a penguin, and he'll just nail it. It doesn't feel like he could fully carry on a full solid conversation, you know, because of his autism, but his ability to pull a graphic design out of his head and draw it on paper, fucking amazing. I love watching this guy. So, to Ruth's point, are there people in that world that have talents that could be utilized that would overall support your overall mission?
There are a few that I've actually encountered with my clients. So, I do workshops and all that kind of junk. But in some of the workshops, some of the trainings, I'm teaching people on some L&D teams how to create accessible design or
Right.
how to do X, Y, and Z. And so there are some that are really enthusiastic that, sometimes I'm like, I think maybe after you get a little bit more of this in you, I might be able to hire you on like a project and like mentor a bit to maybe supplement some of the cost. Kind of a semi-bartering scenario, but I feel like if you want to get into this area, it would be worth it to you. Because it's such a specialized thing.
And that's what's going to come from you doing a lot more speaking, you getting your brand out there further. A lot of that's going to pop up as you continue to get your time freed up, because if anybody spent any time with you, like on one-on-one, and listen to you actually talk about this stuff, your passions were there. I mean, and you've got it. And the fact that you've worked with the level of companies you've worked with at the volume you've worked with them on, right? You're, in my mind, just really need a PR team that can get you out there further while you continue to look at this as a company and build it out that way. So
yeah, would really like somebody to do that, because I'm not good at that part. Like the introvert in me, it's like I'm not good at the getting out there part, because that's just not my natural.
The truth be told, I don't care how extroverted you are, none of us are good at the getting out there part. It's literally like 1% of the population has the ability to naturally show up like that. But most people, and Jessica's having trouble with her internet, but most people struggle with that. Like, I hate reaching out to try and get on stages and stuff like that. The whole thought process annoys the hell out of me. I don't want to do it. I don't want to sit and fill out things to get on podcasts and stuff. That process, it just annoys the hell out of me. So what do? You find other people to do those things for you, right? Like, you could literally hire a $5 an hour VA to do nothing but sit on Podmatch and fill out Podmatch matches for you all day long and get you on podcasts, right? You just figure out the process. You go on there one day, figure out what it would take to get booked on a show, and then write those 5 or 6 steps down, which is not hard. And then literally go to somewhere like an Upwork, Fiverr or something and say, okay, cool. I just need you to get me on podcast. Here, use, LastPass or something to get logged into, podcast guest, and then, or Podmatch, and then fill it out every day. Let me know how many shows you get me booked on. So there's a lot of cool things you can do like that. But it takes getting in the game and screwing them all up. So we've covered a shit ton of things. I'm really curious, what are some of your biggest takeaways? Because I know we threw a lot at you. So what are some of your biggest takeaways?
Biggest takeaway is I have to learn how to step away. And I do have to do a new mind shift. I did one like a month or so ago, and I need to do another one where it's CEO as opposed to, what I am kind of right now. And I also need to get better at delegation. I've got to let go. Like that's probably my biggest takeaway is I've got to let go, which is hard for me. But if I want to grow, if I want to scale, if I want to do the things that I want to do, I've got to do it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm pretty cocky when it comes to how I can draw and design and everything. Like I think I'm really that damn good just because I love doing it. Until the first day somebody outdrew my ass, and I was like, "Fuck you!" Right? So no matter how awesome we are, there's other people that are just better at it than us, and I shouldn't be dicking around with Canva all the time, anyways. So. Oh, this is awesome. So very cool. Well, let's talk about events. What do we have coming up that we need to get promoted out there? I know we have Stu Heineke coming in Thursday for Success Champions, and I'm telling you guys, you're not going to miss that. Want to miss that? It's going to be a fireside chat with me and Stu as we talk about how to grow your business like a weed. How do you get a meeting with anyone? This guy is a flat out genius about how he's used his talents to get scheduled and land some of the biggest companies in the world. So it's going to be really, really fun. So that's Thursday at 10 a.m. Central as part of Becoming a Champion. Bernie, what events, workshops do you have coming up?
I got a light week this week, but next week.
Huh?
Let me go back to Stu. Let me talk. So you guys, if you have not visited its SEN chapter and you want to come to this Stu Heineke thing, get into a chapter this week, and your presidents of those chapters will have a link to invite you into the Stu Heineke. We are doing this a partially public event this week. So make sure you visit a SEN chapter so you can come hang out with us as we interview.
And cut. Just your internet sucks today.
Texas storms. Texas is in the storms.
Nice.
I've got a light week this week, but next week I am doing the suicide event. Let's talk about suicide because we need to. Thursday the 14th at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Nice. I have a fractional workshop for your fractional executives on November 14th from 9 to 10. So if you're a fractional and trying to figure out how to get this networking thing actually work for you, come hang out at that. You can find that on LinkedIn. We have the Badass Business Summit September 17th through the 19th in Fort Worth, Texas. You can go to badassbusinesssummit.com for that one. And then we're here every Monday, 8 a.m. Central, hanging out with the crew, putting somebody in the hot seat, and trying not to make anybody cry. And Rebecca, you did a great job today. You didn't cry once. I'm impressed.
I mean, the absolute fear and nervousness probably just drained all the tears, dried them all up.
That's awesome. So guys, come hang out with us every Monday, 8 a.m. Central, as we have some fun with our guests and try and get the week kicked off. Go have a badass and phenomenal week. Love you, mean it. See you, bye. And
All right. Well, I guess that's a wrap.